Yo, 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 what is going on, COD Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and today we are going to be reacting to the most recent Call of Dragons YouTube video from their official channel, which is aptly titled First Year Recap and Top Rankings Anniversary Community Spotlight. Now, in this video, they provide a number of data points that I just thought it would be interesting to go through, give you my thoughts and reactions, and then, of course, as always, if you enjoy the content, make sure you, because that helps get this out to that, just that much more. Okie dokie artichokes, here we go. So, first one is how many lords, and we'll full screen this. And so, in this one, the interesting part about the how many lords, and I actually have to minimize for a sec, is they say that this is the amount of players, right, total server-wide, or we should say global-wide. If we look at the data that we pulled, and let's just assume that the number they gave was from February 23rd, which we'll end up seeing that date as a disclaimer for a number of the data points that they provide throughout the video at the bottom. We look here, Call of Dragons has 6.8 million downloads. Now, bear in mind, this was 3 weeks ago, right, give or take a few days. And if the data was pulled on February 23rd, right, that would be about 2.5 weeks, right? 2 to 2.5 weeks, somewhere in that range. Now, were they able to gain 6 million or 5.4 million more downloads within that time? I mean, could it happen? Sure. I just think it's unlikely. And so what I think this number is really indicating, right, not really, no, I shouldn't say not really indicating, but is included is alt accounts, right, or multiple accounts. Okay, next one is going to be top countries. Now, this is interesting because they actually show us the top countries, top 10 countries, and you can see U.S. is number 1, Vietnam number 2, Brazil 3, Thailand 4, Indonesia 5, right? And sometimes I feel like sometimes I'm shocked that I don't see like Japan, China, Korea, like, more on the top 5 just because of how, vast, and obviously there's other countries too as well, but those are usually some of like the big ones that are pretty heavily into mobile gaming from what I usually see in other games as well. But yeah, this is, I mean, it's again wild. I guess we're big fans over here in the U.S. And then we get to the next 6 through 10, which is France, Russia, Turkey, and Germany. Or sorry, Turkey, South Korea, and Germany, right? And you can kind of see the total player count, which is interesting, right? That you see, it's like 361,000 and above, right? If you're looking at the top 10, going to, I think only the top 2 had the millions there for us and the other. Okay, all right. And I think they did like a little community spotlight here for some of the creators. Okay. And I think this is amount of legions trained that they did on this one. And you can see this is 11.18 billion legions trained, which I think this was also a question that they did on that quiz anniversary one. So, and then you can also see like most people playing League of Order, some Wilderberg, and then you have Spring Warden, right? Which is, it's interesting that they showed this breakdown as well to kind of show you where, to a degree, well, I mean, bear in mind, this is over the last year, so this isn't really indicative of where the meta is. This is just, hey, this is the number that we have across the entire year. Lords with the fastest T5 reach. So this is something similar to the amount of players within each country. This is the kind of data that would either be almost impossible for me to find. I could crowdsource this, of course, if people let me know kind of how fast they were able to reach T5 at certain intervals, but this isn't something that I would have like direct access to. Similarly to the Lord countries, right? I'd have to try and find another source to find that data. So this is something that typically, the developers are going to have access to on their back end. So we see fastest to reach T5. This is interesting. So you can see the top 5 players here were able to reach T5 within about 4 days, with the fastest at a little less than 2.5 days, right? That is just absolutely bonkers, right? Now, we know there's some people that have reached T5 within a day and rock. And so you look at this and you think to yourself, what's the average amount of money people are paying to hit a T5 account? even if it's bare minimum. I don't know if it's like 10 or 15 grand, something to, and I'm sure maybe that's probably even a low number to an extent. So I'm sure we'll get some comments in the video as far as people letting us know for anyone who may be privy to that information, even if it's within a range. But this is still pretty wild. I mean, 2.4, 3, 3.2, 3.5, 4.1 days. I mean, 1.7 days is what separates 1 through 5 on how fast they were able to get T5. But this is still, you have to put this into perspective. You're hitting T5 within Season 1 and within about the first 4 days of Season 1. So you're also hitting this before Level 2 passes open, going to Zone 2. And if anyone's in Zone 1 with you, well, I'm sure that would be a good time for some. Let's get to the top 10 highest Legion power. Now, this is somewhat interesting on this one because they... So this is, remember, this is like total troops trained, right? So highest Legion power. It also doesn't show current Legion power, right? So that's why you probably see a number of these. And this is interesting. Like, why would Nephisto's the strongest player in the game. His Legion power has to far exceed anyone else's because he has the most amount of troops trained. So, like, I don't understand this. This, to me, seems like a misstep here. Unless they're using some other kind of grade. Again, Legion power is directly tied to the amount of troops that you have trained. So, if he has the most troops trained, right, why wouldn't he be number 1 on this board? It's just, again, it's very weird. It's like, I don't understand this one. So, like, this to me feels like a little bit more context because it just feels, not that the entire board is potentially wrong, but at least that is wrong. And then we look at number 6, or the next top 10, right? You got, this is Tim, we got Popo QD Demon from FSK, and then a few others here, right? But they're all like, it's just all the same, right? And then, like, so you have 99927, right, is number 6, down to 99894. And, okay, yeah, so it's just, I don't know, it's just weird. Honestly, it is a bit weird to me. And then we have Darklings Defeated. So this is like the number of Darklings that have been defeated total. It's 1.13 billion Darklings that have been defeated. What would have been cool is if they would have shown... I mean, that's dope to see. But part of me feels like what would have been better, or not better, but just a little bit more context here, is if they would have provided this on like a 3-month interval. They said like, oh, the first 3 months, like they said, hey, here's total, and then here's the breakdown. Or if they did it like per season, that could have been really cool too as well. Okay, then we get fastest Behemoth capture. Now, bear in mind, the way that they did this for fastest Behemoth capture is, number 1, they didn't show all the Behemoths. Number 2, they split this up between some of the Behemoths that they showed. Right, so we'll show you all the times here right before we go. So here's all the times, I think. Yeah, so here's all the times. Now, bear in mind, right, they only show you 1 out of 7 Behemoths from Season 1. And similarly to Season 2, they only show you 4 out of 7, right? They also don't show you S2+, they don't show you the T1 times, right? Now, we show you that on the one I do, which I'll be coming out with that one as well, probably in the next couple days, where we look at the world's fastest elite raids. Now, also, this isn't talking about elite raids. This is probably talking about just vanilla captures, right? And so, meaning your first capture, right, before you can then attempt an elite raid. But this is cool to see. I mean, you know, again, you see, 4.1 minutes. It'd be nice if they gave shout-outs to who the record holders were, right? I feel like that was a missed opportunity here. Why not, give that credit where credit's due? If these are the ones that have done it, you should know who captured it. Why not give some love out to those people, right? That would have been really cool. Okay. And then I think this next one has to do with, like, war pets. So you could see 21.2 million war pets. Now, war pets is a newer feature, right? So that, to me, seems like a really good, high active number. Okay, and then the next one here, we have... Oh, I think this is it. Sapphire Drake, basically, I think they were saying was, like, the most sought after. Yeah, it was like the most captured. And you can see here almost 3 million. Which, to be fair, I think makes sense, right? I mean, with it being magic, fighter skills, it's obviously something that you're running with mages. Mages basically the somewhat meta right now. It has been for a while with just the most amount of people that are running it. Now, the T1 season obviously has changed that up a little bit, where you have the long-range warfare. I think it was renamed to as well. But essentially, now archers have the ability to have the same range as mages do, just with some reduced damage. I think it's like 15% reduced DPS. Okay, then we'll get to the top 10 strongest lords. So this is funny because, again, this is one of the metrics I do as well, right? You see the data captured on the 23rd. This was back when... oh, hang on. What's going on? Okay, here we go. So you can see numbers here, right? Nephisto was 1, Toxic, Southern Light, Kyle. I can't remember if this is I Am Not Your Cup of Tea or someone else. I always try to remember the best I can. And the next one we got Leginis, Extinct, JQ Lisa, FOV. And I can't remember if this is Cigar or someone else. So I just have to remember the names because I have them all written down on my sheet. But okay. No, I mean, but again, cool, right? That they're showing you, kind of the top categories. I actually thought this was, like, well done overall. Top 10 lords with highest merits, right? So, and this is the thing about merits, right? This is one of the reasons I've actually stopped doing merits, and now I'm probably only going to do glory points. And I say that because the challenge is that they need to give a breakdown, right? A breakdown of what of each unit tier kill. So you need to be able to see T1 kills, T2, T3, T4, T5, because there's just a lot of merit trading that happens at minimum in pretty much all KVKs. And so being able to see what the T4 merit accumulation is, the T5, and they also should be doing this breakdown for glory points too as well. Because, I mean, really once every season, once players and alliances get to a season where glory points are there, which I think is in the T1 season, so the most recent one. But I assume that at least I hope, they're going to add glory points to Season 2 and Season 3 like they should. So that hopefully kind of becomes a standard, right? And I hope that they continue to improve that as well, where that becomes like the PvP standard. Merits are just going to be merit points, right? That's fine. That's all fine and dandy. But they should really have what we would consider to be more of a true PvP metric and gauge on those that are, really out there fighting, and those people that are getting acknowledged and credited for the work that they're putting in. But top 10, so Nav still Chicken, I still Chicken, Sith Lord Crispy, Praeth, Deben, and then probably get to the next. Oops, where am I going? Oh, I thought they were going to show top 10. Was that not top 10? Wow, they said they were going to show top 10, but they didn't. It says top 10 lords with highest merits, right? I'm not crazy. So they show this. But then they never showed 6 through 10. Wow. Okay, top 10 strongest alliances. What a shocker. Wow. How dare you leave out 6 through 10? Just the disrespect. Top 10 strongest alliances. We got the Freak Show, Dragon Slayers, Blood Oath, Nocturnal Order, Veni Vidi Vici. Just would have been nice if they showed like what kingdom they were in. Maybe leader for each alliance. That could have been cool, right? Just a few more little things there. Yo, but look, dude, they showed the top 10 for strongest alliances. They just don't care about the players. Number 6, Eminence Shadow, Nova Knight, Eternals, Big E-Tron. I feel like there should be a hyphen there. Legacy, the Syndicates at 10. Okay. Now, this is the one I actually asked about this, just so you guys know, right? And I'm pretty excited to talk about this because this is eventually going to be one of the data points that I do in the top 25 series, which is the most powerful servers, right? So this is something, and they show off the top 10 here as well. So let me bring it on back. So I asked them how they went about pulling this data, and they basically said that it was very similar to what they did for Rock, right, where they looked at sum total for power. The only thing that I don't know is, did they do this off the top 200? Because that is, and I also asked them if they're going to be adding in Home Kingdom leaderboards as well. I don't think I've got a response yet. Let me just double check here. Yeah, no responses yet. I just wanted to see real quick. Maybe what we'll do is we'll compare this once end of season for T1. Now that I'm thinking about this, end of season for T1 finishes, because it'll probably be a better indication now that I think about it. So, but anyways, we have 32. That is the #1 kingdom right now, based on total summed up power. 233, which is pretty wild as well. That they're in the boat, that boat, because I think most of these are probably going to be under 100, is what my assumption would be. And then they're at 21, right? So they're about 3.6 billion behind. And then you have Kingdom 31, 33, right? So again, basically the betas, and then global, post-global, which would be 33, with global at 32. And then you have Kingdom 42 there. And you can even just look at the range here, which is pretty wild, right? You have 31.7 billion and then 17. Like, that's what separates 1 through 5. Like, that's a wide gap. It's almost double, right? Then we look at the next ones, which is 6 through 10. And now you start seeing the numbers getting really close here, right? 107, 44, 87, 47, then 267 is up there as well, right? So what, 7 of these under 100, 1 over 100, then 2 over 200. Had to get that one out. Felt good. Yeah, I mean, wild stuff, man. All right, let's continue on. Resources assisted. This is the total number of resources assisted, which is 9.35 trillion resources that have been assisted and sent to other players. What else do we got here? Is there any other data sets, or was that the last one? Probably. Oh yeah, they're just showing you the outro. Okay, so that's it. Yeah, decent stuff. I think for me at least, the most intriguing data set that they showed off was the top kingdoms, and that's mainly just because there's just no way to really. It's almost impossible right now to pull that, at least until they potentially come out with Home Kingdom leaderboards, which I hope they do. And then obviously some of the other, like the countries, I thought was really cool to see. Kind of, where are people playing from. And yeah, I mean, I thought this was actually like a pretty well done. I think there's a few opportunities, but I really liked the video overall for just what it was showing off. And yeah, that's me and my thoughts. Would love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments down below. As always, until next time, I'll catch y'all later.